Their ability to create ball movement is what makes their offense go.
Coach Garner Busek called it an unselfishness from his entire offensive unit. Hugh Kelleher gets a screen, and the first shot just goes a little bit wide of the cage.
Willem Firth inside, using some motion there. It's almost if that Cornell is going to go away a little bit from Kirst. Griffin O'Neill has the matchup almost locking off C.J. Kirst. We have not really seen that this year.
Here is Firth. Long. Kirst! There is a new king who reigns over Division I men's lacrosse goal scoring. And Cornell's C.J. Kirst is the one who wears the crown.
And that's what makes C.J. Kirst so dangerous, right? It's the way Cornell moves the ball. They're so unselfish, and he can score from the outside. And here he is inside, just curls to the ball, puts the bouncer past Morrell.
The stick in his hands.
Dartmouth has a lot of guys 6'2" and above, right? Really big physically. Be interesting to see if Cornell's skill and athleticism can overcome that.
You see it in the defense as well. You've been mentioning it to me pregame, how each of these defenders, the close Ds, like Griffin O'Neill right there, 6'2" and above for Dartmouth.
Yeah, and Cornell's, I mean, C.J. Kirst is big and physical. He's 6'2". But you've got Michael Long and certainly Ryan Goldstein are not physically imposing players. And Cornell comes right back with their first midfield group.
On the doorstep, it's Andrew Dalton right on the crease. He's made a living on the crease the entire season, and Andrew Dalton's specialty makes it a 2-0 lead.
And I think that's one of the things you see from Cornell. For whatever reason, he seems like early in halves that they're able to find him down low, and there Willem Firth makes a nice look down the side. Cornell gets the clear, took their time to do it, set it up, and they're able to extend the for them to come out and play. Other than, the personal pride about, trying to get through and have an undefeated
power misses high.
Undefeated season in the Ivy League, and to not have to share the Ivy League crown and the Nicky Boff trophy with another team.
If Cornell were to win today, it would be the 20th outright Ivy League title in Cornell's history and their 18th perfect Ivy League record in program history. As usual, Dartmouth taking a bunch of time off the clock. We're down below 15 seconds on the shot clock. Emmett Paradine will take the low shot, and the rug burner will put Dartmouth on the board.
And that's what you're going to see from Dartmouth. It is, you'll see them play very much. It's a slow style. They'll go late in the shot clock. They will often use a two-man game, and then it's really just a one-on-one dodge, and that's what happened there. Paradine, get the low shot, just lowers his hands and gets it in. Counter puncher, right? As soon as a team makes a run at them, they shut it down quickly and then put a run of their own, and they've been able to open up some big leads. But if you see a team for a very long period of time stay close, who knows?
Cornell nearly loses the turnover battle by 2 on average this year. And last week they were -11 in the turnover battle against Harvard, still escaping with a 20-12 win over the Crimson last week in Massachusetts. Dartmouth on offense again after the turnover by Firth. He was looking for Dalton, and now defender hung up for Cornell here. Alex Jesse's looking for options with Brendan Staub hung up. Under 20 on the shot clock. Jesse makes his move with 4 goals last week. He'll take the shot and score.
And again, that's where you can create opportunities as a Dodger, right? You want as much of that goal to shoot at as possible. And that's where you see Alex Jesse come around just really patiently. And Gil Martin a little slow getting out into his hands. Look at, there's some distance there, right? You want to get in on him a little bit sooner, and that's how he's able to use that space and his shiftiness to get inside and give himself the whole goal to shoot at.
And Jesse is a guy who's really taking advantage of his opportunity. The original starting attackman, the original third starting attackman for Dartmouth was Hopper Zapatello, but he hasn't played since the Penn game at the beginning of the month.
We got a hold there, so it'll be Cornell possession.
So Cornell will take over again and try and limit the turnovers. It's 4 Cornell turnovers to Dartmouth's 3 so far in this game. Skip pass to TJ Lamb, who has stayed on the field.
And there, you're almost, I was sort of looking at it as a, why you going, why you going, why you going, why you have a shorty shooting, and Lamb makes me look a little bit ridiculous there. But ball movement, Michael Long able to move it, and then Goldstein loves this cross-face feed, and you.
And now Cornell looking to move in transition with Kyle Smith. He passes it off to Long. First midfield now coming on with Ray Hill and Smith rotating off in the substitution game. It's been a much more patient offense for Cornell, kind of matching the style and tempo of play that Dartmouth has shown on the opposite end.
Really want to have the ball do the work here, get the ball moving.
Especially when you got Hugh Kelleher on a short stick matchup as well. It's Colin Fagan on Kelleher and gets Goldstein to win around GLE.
And there's the unselfishness of Cornell's offense and what makes them, right, how are you going to match up? What are you going to do? And there's, you see Kelleher just gets inside. A lot of guys would have taken that shot because he was, he's probably about, 8 yards out, right in front, the whole goal to shoot at. And Goldstein just, right, look at this. We'll get in here as he gets further downhill, right? And then he looks, finds the sneak opposite.
Against a very, very tough faceoff man at Jack Cascadden, who was 23 of 29 last week against Harvard. Tyler Julin will hand off to Jesse. As the second midfield rotates on for Dartmouth, and again, inverting as Julian Navab will do so against Gilmartin. Navab's slide comes from Dooley. Doesn't yard sail this time, and Gilmartin gets a stick in the passing lane right back to Navab. 30 on the shot clock. Jesse against Staub. Takes the screen. Nate Davis. Davis will shoot and bounce her over the shoulder of Nust.
And I think what you see a little bit from Dartmouth here is, they're willing to mix and match, right? They've got Davis on here with a couple of second line guys right now. That might make you have to think a little bit about your matchups defensively to just make sure who's got who.
Dartmouth.
Quite a scrum there. Cornell in the scramble situation comes out with it. CJ Kirst took a big hit, but still bounced up, got the ground ball, and found Goldstein just not able to hit the cage. And because it was a scramble on the opposite sideline, Cornell doesn't have the goal backed up.
Ben Di Giovanni is across the halfway line to receive the clear.
Cornell back in man-to-man.
It's Gilmartin against William Stahl, and once again, Dartmouth liking to invert when they've got the short stick on. And Power's got a little space between him and Singer. He's got Singer hung up. And on the doorstep, Jackson Monty.
And he was open for a long time inside the Cornell defense, got rotating there. You'll see just behind the patience, find Power, finds the cut. I think part of that was that
it's been a while since we've seen Cornell really have sustained offensive time. And with Dartmouth's style, still burning a ton of time off the clock. And making this Cornell defense work. That went off pipe.
Well, reset.
So a fresh 60 on the clock for Dartmouth as William Stahl went bar down, but not into the goal. Jesse two-man game with Venturola. Venturola's working on the short stick. Up top to Emmett Paradine, and a free shot for him. Stings the top corner. 2 goals for Paradine today. And Dartmouth's got their first lead.
And that's the 3 in a row now for Dartmouth. Just he got in a dangerous spot, and Cornell just was stuck halfway, right? If you're sliding, you kind of have to go or don't go. And when you get stuck in no man's land.
Stick was almost in the passing lane there from Hazelby. Inside pass from Long, and Firth just missed wide.
And what you're seeing here is, again, Dartmouth is continuing to essentially try and do it's not a full-on lock-off with Griffin O'Neill on Kirst, but he's not getting away from him. He's basically touching him with a stick the whole time. And Cornell trying to, will look for opportunities to get him the ball, like right here.
Here is Kirst trying to fight around O'Neill. Can't quite do so. 10 seconds left. Kirst switches to his right hand and will shoot and score. 226 for C.J. Kirst.
And I think with your Cornell, it's that balance, right? It's that balance of, do we just play 5-on-5, or do we work to get the ball to CJ and let him go? They've been electing to play more of the 5-on-5, but here, when it's late in the shot clock, they're able to get him to just, the Ivy League's got 3 teams in the top 10 in RPI. They want to, one of the reasons the tournament was created to help boost RPI late in the season, get your better teams playing each other. Also to give a chance for a team that maybe slipped up during the year to be able to make the tournament with the automatic qualifier. So it's always an exciting tournament. Cornell kind of has a little bit of a mixed history in the Ivy League tournament, even when winning the Ivy League championship. That is actually the champion of the league is determined by the round robin play. So the tournament is just for the tournament champion, but it does get the automatic qualifier.
And last year, Cornell basically didn't get a spot in the tournament because of a loss in the Ivy League tournament. Andrew Dalton gets his second goal of the game once again on the crease. Cornell's back in front.
Almost like they drew that up coming right out of the timeout, right? You saw a little bit of it. It was almost like a give and go. You had first ball movement down to X and then throw it to the inside on the cut.
Morrell stopped him! 10 saves for Mason Morrell.
Feeling like he's in people's heads now. Feels pretty official when you get that kind of a, make the catch, maybe throw a fake, and then try and get it in.
Both goalkeepers are keeping the opposing teams off the score sheets here in the second half still.
The other thing that does, right, it takes the Cornell's face-off game out of play, those extra possessions, because you're just going back and forth and playing offense.
Second midfield's out here for Dartmouth. Stahl against Gilmartin. Williams Stahl, and he finally got a bouncer past Nust on a tight angle.
And that was just an opportunity where the Cornell didn't close it out, right? Look at the distance Gilmartin because of the switch. He probably wanted to be in on him more, and then he just gets the bouncer in. Try anything. The other thing to keep in mind is that we're getting towards the end of the quarter. Now, Cornell can't hold it all the way out.
But how many times have we seen this in C.J. Kirst's career? He'll go one-on-one with a defender at the end of the quarter against Thomas Gogan. Battering around X, trying to earn his shot. C.J. Kirst heading towards cage and misses just the cage wide left. And yes, in the crease will have to give it up. But that ends the power play. Cornell is back at full strength. Can Dartmouth score and take the lead with 20 seconds left to go in the quarter? But a stick in the passing lane from Kirst. Willow Firth with Morrell out of the cage.
And that's what Cornell's been able to do all game long. They have really ridden hard and to be able to create that extra possession. And here you're going to see C.J. Kirst with a good job with having the stick in the passing lane. Picks it off, finds Willem Firth, nice and patient, and throws it into the empty goal. That's one way to not have to beat Mason Morrell if he's not in the cage.
5 failed clears for Dartmouth today. And that one was the biggest of them all to put Cornell back in front.
Well, and now you try and have Jack Cascaden come out the front, play make it, take it, get a quick one, really get some momentum here. But killing off that 2-minute non-releasable and then to get a goal at the end of it, that's pretty big for Cornell.
A huge momentum booster for Cornell. Cascaden wins it cleanly. 8 goals for Cascaden. Can he make it 9?
Told you. Hey, that's what he's done all year. That's the element that Jack Cascaden has brought to this team. He's facing off at a high percentage, but he's skilled. He can come down the middle. They didn't slide to him, and you'd think that that's the shot they...
Now the first midfield once again will roll out for Dartmouth. It also just continues a trend that we've seen in college lacrosse where more and more teams are relying heavily on their first midfield line.
Yeah, and I think, though, the key is as the weather gets warmer and you get deeper into this tournament, you need that second midfield. And there's a couple reasons for that, right? If you get to the end, you got to play 2 games in 3 days. So you got to be able to have, in warm temperatures, you got to be able to have that second midfield, that fourth long pole, 2 pairs of short stick defenders, right? You need all of that to make that deep run.
Trulin, who was battling against Hugh Kelleher, caught out on defense, cuts the deficit down to 1.
And they're, see, taking advantage of the matchup, right? You take advantage of that opportunity against Kelleher, who's usually not on the field in that sort of a situation. They just didn't close the distance, right? And he's able to get upfield, his first of the game.
The next goal will take us to a break. It is an 8-7 lead for Cornell.
Mulholland locking C.J. Kirst here, although he's going to try and work to get the ball. The thing to remember, right, if you want to lock with a different guy, great, leaves you your best defenders on other players. But if you can get Kirst the ball, then you got a weaker defender on him.
Firth finally gets the ball to Kirst with Mulholland all over him. We'll get a screen from Dalton. Kirst. Still against Jack Mulholland. We'll find an open man in Firth, but Goldstein will hold it off. 30 seconds.
Good patience.
Goldstein's against Griffin O'Neill around GLE. Holding it off with one stick. Right, Goldstein!
Just an inside roll there. Puts, Tackman loved that little inside roll. Keep your stick close to your body. Watch how he comes. Right hand. Come. Get to the corner. Back around. And then just puts it down low. Notice
a grueling battle for Cornell today. Not at their cleanest, especially going against Mason Morrell, the reigning Ivy League Defensive Player of the Week. Had 20 saves last week against Brown.
Smart.
He's got 12 today.
Smart play there by Brendan Staub, right? Doesn't have a guy in his hands. Just wait. Someone's going to get open for you. Don't force it. Take your time.
And the first midfield line is out for Cornell, trying to take a 3-goal lead for the first time today. Andrew Dalton against a short stick matchup, Harrison Keith. Backs off. Here is Kirst against Jack Mulholland. Inside to Firth, who went to Goldstein. Step down for Hugh Kelleher!
Again, ball movement, what creates that opportunity. They did a nice job with that little, as Firth cleared through, that created the whole thing, right? As he slips through, he moves it through to X, cross-handed to Goldstein, and then just a step down there. That's, again, for a goalie, you got to be looking behind, right? Which essentially will give the matchup of Cornell and Yale. We'll have to get the answer.
Yeah, because Harvard would be locked into the 3 with a Princeton win. 35 seconds left. Power was going against a short stick in Davis. A lot of bodies inside the middle of the field. But the shot over the bar. 28 seconds left for Dartmouth to try and mount what would be an improbable comeback. Jesse will use a screen from Stahl. Passing into the middle. McGill finally on the score sheet with an around the world.
Dangerous inside he is, and he was able to make the nice catch, and you said it, around the world with 22 seconds left. Just opportunity comes along, just looks back pipe, nice catch, and cross-handed back around the world.